right, everybody. We got this. We're going to do this 48 minutes.
But it's not,
This
because
podcast
it's not counting down.
will ever be. Well, I can see the red. Like, I wonder if it'll fill it up.
It's weird that it's not counting down. It doesn't feel right.
Good luck. Let's try.
Story of our career.
Oh,
Good
why
luck.
is it blinking
Let's try.
now? Hello, and welcome to Hardly Working, the show about life, love, and labor, hosted by the couple that works, plays, and stays together. I'm Kellie.
And I'm SP, and it's good to be back in the studio after what feels like a month, but was only a couple weeks. Am I getting shushed? What was that?
I was going, yes.
Yes.
Because that was my agreement with you when you said a long couple of weeks. I just kept going because my shh was as long as the weeks felt. It felt like.
It was definitely an
what I mean?
emphasis on the shh,
I was like,
not on the
yes.
yes. It has been a long time. We recorded a really, really fun episode with Bo. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen to that, Bo Bascoro was on last week. We filmed it a couple weeks ago because we've been out and about, which we'll talk about soon. But thanks for all the wonderful feedback on that. We had a blast with him too. It was so much fun. It turned into just like 90 minutes of storytelling of crazy events like your parachute not opening when you jump out of an airplane, or some type of para-hang, something gliding, sailing, and learning you're going to crash into a mountain and making it through there.
Someone said we should have turned that happened today into, I can't believe you survived.
Yeah, which is the story of Bo's wife. The
Yeah,
story
this guy
of
was
Bo's
like his
life.
wife?
I don't know. A lot of stuff was
The
happening.
story of Bo's wife. Marriage is a special bond.
It was good times. Thanks for everybody who watched that. Don't forget to check out Bo's music anywhere you stream music, and his new single, One of Those Nights. Very cool, very fun. Definitely worth checking out. Super glad to have him on, and probably we'll have him back coming up here soon. It's fun. Everybody we've had on the show, we kind of turn into friends with, which is very fun.
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing, including some.
If you want to be our friend, come on the show. Just kidding.
If you want to be friends with us, come on for 90 minutes. Speaking of 90 minutes, goes to hours, goes to days. We've been in Salt Lake City for, you were there.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
90 minutes in the quantum realm.
90 days.
You were there for 6 days. I was there for 5 days. It was a very, if you can pardon the pun, eventful week in Salt Lake. We went out there for an event called Qualtrics. This is Kellie's third Qualtrics, my second, I guess.
Yeah. I
was there.
Qualtrics. You were there for the end of last one. They hired you, so yeah.
Playing with the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, this is a weird part of my life where I own a photo booth company that I do a lot of that. That's like my main source of income. But every now and then I stage manage or talent wrangle.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And because people that I know were like, hey, we just need some extra hands. And I'm like, yeah, I can be the extra hands. And I'm good at it. And I enjoy it.
Who are you talent wrangling with this week?
I will say this is the event that historically has really fun people. And I would say the talent name drops for this one are much less.
Sure. What was last year?
Give like a reminder in the past couple of years. Last year, the big keynote speaker was Michelle Obama.
Kind of a big deal.
The Backstreet Boys performed. I met them. There was a couple other big notable speakers last year.
Martha Stewart.
That was the year before. And at this event, I've done Martha Stewart, Shaun White,
Chip and Joanna
Gaines. Oh, we did the CEOs for both Amex and Delta last year, which was cool. So last year was like more, I feel like, well-known people that even if you didn't necessarily, like everyone knows who Ed Bastian is from Delta. At least I feel like they should. Maybe you don't. I do. I'm a big Delta fan. But you're like, wow, that's cool. This year had some cool people. They had the CEO of Walmart, who is or the chairman or something. She's a strong female. She's super cool. Her name is Donna. She's great.
Yeah.
We had a couple of, we had the main guy from Shake Shack who was super nice too, Danny something.
Yeah, I got to listen to his conversation because I was doing a voiceover before or after him, and he had a lot of good things to say, including he was like, we had family values, and let me tell you why it didn't work, because you can't just fire someone from the family if they don't fit in with the culture.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I've lived that life before.
Yeah.
So. And I have fired people for not fitting into the family culture, but that's besides the point.
It's tricky.
Not with my business. But.
Everyone thinks it's good and wants everything to be family-esque. Like, we're friends and all that stuff. And inevitably, you will run into this has to be business here, and it's going to hurt.
We were just talking about this, which I don't want to give away that secrets on the podcast, but
our secrets?
We were just talking about this where I said, I'm just going to give it away, where I said this idea of like in business, it's important to make connections, but the deeper the connection, the bigger the gap, so to speak.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's not what it is, but you know what I mean? Like, it's good to make connections because it makes you closer and it makes that communication and that part better. But the deeper that connection goes, the more you guys become friends, the worse the relationship actually is within business. Because in business, you're supposed to be able to hold accountability if you're at different levels. That's a part of it. But when you get so close that the lines get messy, it makes it really difficult. And that's when, quote unquote, feelings get hurt, or you start to let your standards slide because you don't necessarily want to hold accountability or you feel guilty about it.
Yeah, you mentioned that you had a boss that would say, if we can capture our employees' hearts, then we can win their hands. And that's maybe true, but if you capture their hearts and win their hands, you have their hearts and you will break their hearts.
You can, yeah.
Oftentimes.
Yeah. So
because rarely does someone stick around forever.
Yes. We also had one of the big guys from Serve Now, which I don't really know much about, but for those Righteous Gemstones fans, I am telling you, he looked like the live action version, which is dumb because it's a live action show, but like the real life version of Baby Billy. Not Baby Baba Billy.
I know. I knew
Uncle
you were
Baby
like,
Billy.
gotta say it right.
And I mean it, like 100%. I met him in person, shook his hand, super nice. I was like, man, you look like Baby Billy.
Baba
Baby
Bonkers.
Billy. Baba Bonkers. But the coolest one of all, which was the irony of all of this, is that Rick Rubin spoke at this conference.
Who is that?
I don't know as much as you do, so why don't you share a little bit about who Rick Rubin is?
So I didn't know a lot about Rick Rubin until I read his book.
Def Jam, right? Is that what it is?
Maybe
Records.
Well, he's a music producer.
Yeah.
Who oddly enough doesn't play any instruments, which isn't the most abnormal thing, but he is like just an antenna, just a receiver of inspiration and a vessel for listening and taking things in, being open to inspiration when it strikes, and then being able to articulate that in a way that you can later capture. His book, The Creative Act, was one of my favorite books of either 2023 or 2024. I can't remember specifically when I read it or listened to it rather, but I did it while I was putting together a shed on our patio, and it was talking about the creative act and how like the work is the payoff, not how it's received by anybody. And that was a huge thing for me, is like, yeah, it doesn't really matter how it's received by the public. Once you release it out into the world, it's out of your hands. It's not your thing anymore. But, you know, to be a creative person, which he believes everyone is a creative person, but to choose to actually create, the art and the work of creating is the payoff. And that's just kind of boiled down to my takeaway in a nutshell. But his book was really impactful, really influential. He's also a Buddhist, which I mentioned because he's the first speaker I've ever worked with that has done. I'll let Kellie tell the story of her experience with him, but he definitely dresses and presents himself in a particular way.
Yeah, and let's be clear, couldn't have been nicer.
Awesome, dude.
Like
great.
super nice, super great. Shook my hand, looked me in the eye, super sweet. Like I also, in some ways, not jaded. Jaded isn't quite the word, as people would say, but like there's really not a lot of celebrities who can faze me anymore. And I don't really have much knowledge of Rick Rubin, admittedly. But let's just do this before I even talk about this. Give me some of the biggies of who he's worked with.
The Beastie Boys, Eminem. What's that?
Did he work with the Beatles ever?
No. I mean, Beatles were in the 60s.
I know. I don't
think he was doing that back then. They talked about the Beatles and the Beach Boys, but I think that was in a different context. He did some. I mean, he surpasses genre, whether it's heavy metal stuff that he's worked on with, I think Guns N' Roses is what he was talking about, to rap stuff, like I mentioned with the Beastie Boys. He's been all over different places and spaces. He's a multiple Grammy-winning producer. And are you pulling it up right now?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. But
I thought, yeah.
I mean, those are the answers I have right now.
That's good. Yeah. Hip hop, Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Ghetto Boys, Rock, Tom Petty, Johnny Cash, Slayer, Metallica, Pop, Adele, Ed Sheeran, Kesha, Beastie Boys. I already said them. Little John, LL Cool J. Danzig, Slayer, Metallica, Tom. I already said all these.
Yeah, I mean that's
Lady,
a
did I say
huge
Lady Gaga?
eclectic.
Yeah.
No, you didn't say Lady
And
Gaga
Lady
yet.
Gaga.
That's a huge eclectic swath of genres, even just right there.
Yeah, it's a lot. And let's give you some context. If you don't know who Rick Rubin is, like I didn't know who Rick Rubin was, he is not what you would expect a Grammy winner producer to look like. He is this guy that has the longest wiry white beard. He's starting to bald on his head, but he still has this long white hair and kind of just lets the pieces fly at the top, and wears sunglasses. At least he was wearing sunglasses with me.
Or red sunglasses, I think.
Yeah. Super nice, super kind, really sweet, low maintenance, like truly just like wanted to hang and talk and be, never judged anyone, was just like, here I am. I had to walk him up to the stage and get him onto the stage. He was going barefoot and I was like, hey, you're gonna have to walk down some stairs. He's like, what are they made? What the material are made out of? I said, carpet, but these stairs that lead up to the stage, they're metal and they're kind of pokey. He's like, I'll be okay. I was like, okay, I just want to make sure you're safe. But he was like really nice. Asked me questions. We talked. We chatted for a bit. He was great. You enjoyed him. I didn't really get to hear him. I was backstage running around doing my own thing.
Yeah, he was barefoot in a zip-up hoodie.
With like leggings and like oversized shorts over it.
Like, you know, what runners wear, those like full-length leggings, but then with shorts over.
I would say that's closer to like what people with yoga do too.
Sure. And he sat cross-legged
on
the chair the entire time, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
He was really cool. And probably the biggest person at this event that I think anyone would know, other than the fact that Gwen Stefani did the party.
There's Gwen Stefani, yeah.
But my favorite part of this entire event was that I made friends with, there's like 3 different production companies all working together. I'm working with one, and then there's another company that's kind of working and responsible for like the writers and all that stuff. And I made friends with one of them, and we were chatting, and I was telling her how much you love Rick Rubin and like all the stuff. And she ended up getting signed he signed 100 copies of his book.
And I got 100 copies of the book.
And she got a box for the production company. And she was like, here's a box. Like you can give it to Craig and he can hand out to whoever he wants. She said, but don't forget to take yours, because one of those in there is yours. And so it was a fun thing for me that I got to come up to the room and surprise SP with a signed copy of this Rick Rubin book that he loved just so much.
Yeah, it was the only copy I had too, because I had just listened to it prior to that.
So we now have a signed copy of Rick Rubin's book in our home. Don't steal it. Don't come for us.
Don't find our home, break into it, find the book, and take it.
Yeah, but I just think it's really cool. I need to put it up in our little thing, unless you want to keep it somewhere special.
We'll probably put it here in the studio once we have time to.
You know what? That's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
it's a great idea. Put some shelves up and have that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a very sweet and kind.
We're not giving that away. I just need you to know if anyone's like, oh my gosh, I love that. I'd be like, great.
Tough.
Not that copy.
No. But it was very kind of you to do that. You may have even seen it on TikTok and Instagram if you're following us or hanging with us at It's Hardly Working on TikTok and Instagram, because we posted it up there. Kelly walked in with this big box, and I was like, wait a minute.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? So that was very kind. I spent a lot of my time not only doing what we call VOGs or Voice of God for bringing people on and off stage.
I was laughing at that. I know where you're going with this. Okay, yes.
But I spent most of my week in the dream
Hardly
house.
Working.
Hardly
I'm just
working.
kidding.
Working way too hardly, by the way. I did 2 like 5 to 5.5 hour DJ sets. Non-stop DJ sets, by the way. No breaks, no tempo. I mean, there was tempo changes, but no like drastic tempo changes. It was all a continuous mix. 2 days in a row from 5 to 5.5 hours. It was a lot.
And he gave himself the challenge of not playing any of the same songs
twice.
Again.
Yeah.
And within the 2 days.
Yeah, which was wild. I mean, that's like 10, 11 hours of music, which some people be like, that's not that hard. It is when you're trying to cater and curate a vibe.
Yeah, and you're not playing the full song. It's not like you have a playlist on that's just playing 3 to 4 minutes of a song. He's playing like 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe a minute and a half.
Definitely more than 30 seconds, but yeah.
Okay, a minute to a minute and a half at most.
Yeah,
of
it was
these
a lot.
songs. Maybe 2 minutes, but who knows?
But it was cool. They built this like, I wouldn't say life size, because it wasn't like 15,000 square foot house, but it was a full size dream house, and I was on the second story of the dream house, a la the Barbie movie, even though it wasn't technically Barbie.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't realize what was happening here.
So I chuckled.
Yeah.
So it was called the Dream House. It was called the Dream House for a reason.
Because it looks like the Barbie dream house. That's what I thought. But there was also, so we were on an expo floor, and if you've never been there, that means there's tons of different vendors and people are walking through. There's 6,000 people at this event, something like that. So they're walking, they're learning about different things, blah, blah, blah. And all I know is that on the first floor of the Dream House, something's happening. That is truly as much as I know. At the end of I guess it'd be day 3, someone comes up to the Dream House, which is shocking because no one has been up there with me ever. And they're wearing like a volunteer shirt, right? Or whatever it is, like a I work here shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe not volunteer, I don't really know. But clearly they work there. And this woman comes up to me, and there's another woman with her. And the first woman says, this is Lisa. Shout out to Lisa. And she's like, this is her dream. And I was like, what? Like, amazing. What's the dream? And she's like, to meet you. And I was like,
it's really cool.
What? Amazing. And I keep going with it. And I'm like, that's so incredible. And she tells me how she has started becoming a DJ and how she's been doing this cool kind of like mindfulness dance. I don't know if it's a program or what it is, but she's incorporating a lot of that stuff. And, you know, asked the normal stuff like, what would you suggest, or tips and tricks and that kind of stuff. We took some photos together. And it wasn't until hours, that night, when I told you like this happened, that you told me what the whole premise of the Dream House was.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear though. I didn't know what the Dream House was until that day either.
Really?
Yeah, I had seen the Dream House. There was a QR code and I thought about scanning it, but I was like, I don't really care enough.
Right.
That's terrible. But I was like, I'm doing my own thing over here. I'm just checking on you. I don't need to scan this random QR code.
Well, everyone kept coming up to the house and scanning what I assumed was a QR code, but I thought it was just for whatever information was being given out.
It was actually for you to put your dream, which I realized later. And the reason why I knew that is because later on in that day, I was working with people that had yellow shirts on that said Dream Team.
Yeah. Which I just thought like, that's a cute name for you guys.
Yeah.
The Dream Team.
Then I was looking at a meet and greet list and it was like Dream House winner. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh yeah, the person was like, yeah, people can like, they could sign up and like put what their dream was. And if we could make it, we've been like making dreams happen all week.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? So like some people go, oh, we had Bozma St. John from the Real Housewives. She was also there. I forgot about her.
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
I thought she worked at the company. Bozma?
Bozma is the VOD you did. No, she is Bozma St. John, who's from the Real Housewives or something like that.
Okay.
So she was a speaker. Some people wanted to meet her. That was like that was their dream. Yeah. And so they got to come back and meet her. Some people wanted to meet Rick Rubin. They got to come back and do that. Some people wanted to meet you. They got to do that.
Yeah. So
I'm sure there were other things too, but
I wonder where the line is. I wonder where they are like, that dream is.
Well, I don't think that they made, there was thousands of people here. I don't know that they made everybody's dreams come true.
Certainly.
But I'm sure that they were trying to do that. And those things are easy. You want to meet someone that's at this conference already? Sure.
Yeah. Let me tell you, kids, if you want to make your dreams come true, make them feasible, attainable, and simple. Like meeting me. Not like meeting Rick Rubin.
But what a cool thing.
You can always meet me.
I would have said, I want a free trip to London. That's my dream, to go on a wonderful vacation.
Not going to work.
You don't know.
Meet the dude who's been DJing all week. That's attainable.
I should have done that.
You already know me.
I want to meet him. Yeah, I do know you. But I thought it was sweet that somebody, out of all the people that were there, out of all the things they could have wished for, they were or dreamed for, they were like, I want to meet the DJ.
Do you think there was more to it than that?
No.
No?
No.
So I'm just a dream maker.
Well, you didn't make the dream come true.
Without me, it wouldn't have happened.
You were the dream.
I mean, that's how I've always felt about myself. I'm the American nightmare. I'm Cody Rhodes of this podcast.
Nobody wanted to meet me. So
I didn't even know that it was the thing. And had I known, I probably could have handled that even better. That's
true. I will say this. My biggest highlight of the week, other than getting to work with my DB team and you getting to be there with me, was that I had Firehouse subs for the first time. And it was delicious. I freaking loved Firehouse subs. I got it 3 days in a row. Don't judge me. Oh my goodness.
I think I remember enjoying it though. Got like an Italian or something.
Yeah, but it's like a hot Italian sandwich.
Yeah.
I liked it. You got it. You didn't get as many. You took a lot of things off. I got it as is.
I just took mayo and tomato off.
And tomato.
Yeah, and onions. And all the crappy parts.
Left it on and it was delicious. I loved it.
Look, I'm always down for a hot Italian.
Sorry that I can't make that happen for you.
Yeah.
You want
I said I was
German?
down. Ew, you're not. Dude, that's not how I identify you. If anything, Irish. Yeah,
I'm
over
both.
German. You're more Irish than German. You know what? I actually don't know that that's true.
No, I think I'm more German than I am Irish, but that's besides the point.
Either way.
Because I'm a second generation German.
Yes, you are, technically. I'm a second generation. Who knows? This
Irish?
is neither here nor there. But
You're first generation.
American. First
Well, your
generation
dad was from
American.
Ireland.
Yes.
But I look at that and go, you're first generation, like Irish American, right?
I don't know.
Irish. But you guys know what I mean at home because his dad was from Ireland. My grandma was from Ireland. So that means she had to have my mom, and then my mom had me.
Who was from Ireland?
From Germany. My grandma was from
Yes.
Germany. Sorry if I said Ireland. And so my mom and then me.
Yeah.
Versus you're just your dad and then you. So it's
That
first.
is true. But the point of all of this is I'm making women's dreams come true all around the world.
If your dream is to meet SP, you can scan this QR code now.
All you have to do is follow us at It's Hardly Working.
Yeah.
And say,
anywhere you follow us.
want to get lunch? And I'll be like, probably. Let's do it.
Unless I see it, then I'll delete it. I'm just kidding. I won't. I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Where are we going? Firehouse Subs?
Yeah, that's happened a few times. But like Kelly's like, I'm going to step in on this conversation.
It's okay.
Anyway, those are kind of that's the long
hot,
and the short and the long of Salt Lake City.
We'll be back there
Tomorrow. But tomorrow, I know.
Oh.
I'm tired too. Yeah, hit it.
But also while I was there, I booked 2 gigs.
Yeah, you know what? That's so funny. I didn't put that on our list of things to recap.
Yeah.
That is kind of crazy. 2 things you booked while you're out in Salt Lake, one of which has already happened and one hasn't.
Yeah, one was, both were kind of last minute asks because normally I have a couple of weeks prior to people asking me, which is fine. But one was for this weekend, which I already did. I did it yesterday, but this is not coming out
Till Wednesday, March 26th.
Did it on Saturday. I can't really talk much about this, but this was a private event, 16 people for, I can probably say that right. It was for
Just no names.
Yeah, a bunch of past and maybe present studio heads out here in LA.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that. That was pretty fun. I mean,
it was awesome. And you also booked another gig while
it was
there.
awesome. I mean, it's not as fun as like a normal event where you have hundreds of people because
There's only
they
16
seem to be
people.
more chummy. It was only 16 people. And so you're kind of trying to stay out of the way while also trying to be helpful, while also trying not to be annoying, but trying to make sure you get your job done and that you get the photos taken. So that was fun. But I did book a gig again on site, truly, for next week. So I'll be doing that next week. While I was also out in Salt Lake, I booked it's happening today. So I can talk about it.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to track with which one you were talking about.
Today, the day this podcast comes out, it's a Disney Plus premiere after party for Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad road trip. That's going to be coming out on Disney Plus this Friday. So make sure you watch that. Eva Longoria is in that. Who I've worked with a couple of times in the past. She's super kind, super nice. She's amazing and great. And she's really good friends with my friend Troy, who tends to book me in a lot of things. So look for that. Support her. She's great.
Yeah. Watch it or don't.
Watch it or don't. But
We're
you
all
should.
adults.
But I'll be there. I'll be posting pictures from that event on my social media. So you can follow me at BMBL Booth or at It's Hardly Working. We'll probably repost there.
Probably.
But if you want to see more of what I do in my professional life, it's at BMBL.
It's going to be right there. And I had a perfect translation.
That's good.
Action.
I'm already exhausted from just talking about all the things that I'm doing.
And we've had very little sleep. And we made some poor decisions last night and stayed up way too late.
We had a great time, though.
And then got up too early.
Yeah. Let us know if you're interested in watching videos of things being made with no words and us talking about it.
Being made. It was 8.5 hours of fun items getting baked in front of you. Bakery items, but no one talked. You just watched it. It was like watching how it's made on mute.
If you ever wonder what we're like when the cameras are off, it's exactly the same.
It's kind of like this.
We were truly laying in bed watching this thing, both truly exhausted. And we were like, bagels and making bagels? What is that? Why are they rolling it out?
This seems impractical. Are we going to fry those? Boil?
Why is he
How do you
hitting
make a
that
bagel?
thing? I'm like, that's butter. You got to put it in to make it flaky. That seems hard.
Seems inefficient.
So it looks good though. Ooh, look at that croissant.
Scene.
Yeah.
That is a moment from last night.
Truly. So if you're interested in that, let us know.
There is a market for people like things to fall asleep to. Even the creators I follow on YouTube, they'll do like all of their normal stuff and then they'll repackage it and be like, here's 8 hours of content, which is just copy paste of the other stuff to fall asleep to. And it's pretty great.
Yeah. Also,
by the way, if you're a big YouTube watcher, I just learned that YouTube, while there has always been a paid option and it's like $15, and I was like, I'm not paying $15 just to not have commercials. They have rolled out or are rolling out in certain markets a $7.99 plan that gives no commercials for most videos, just excluding music.
Is that in our market?
I think so. I've read a couple articles and some have said the US and some haven't. But you can't find it quite yet. I wasn't able to find it.
When you say exclude music, do you mean like excludes like music videos? Not that we have very many of those now. Or
I think so.
Or like, are there like things where it's like 12 hours of rain sounds?
I don't think it's that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how many people would consider rain sounds music.
I mean, I consider ocean sounds music as much as I don't think it is. I'm like, yeah, I would put on an ocean sounds playlist.
Yeah. I think this is more music that record labels want money for.
Got it. Makes sense.
That's my assumption.
Okay.
But yeah, check that out. Anyway, before we get into that happened today, before we just fall asleep unconscious in these comfy studio chairs, a couple things came across my reading as I was putting the show together all week long. The first one was this. There was a story that I read, and this is not, story. This is just a real life anecdote. This person said, I accidentally became the neighborhood crow whisperer. This is my life now.
Weirdo.
It's kind of great, though.
Yeah.
All right, here's the story in a nutshell. Here's what they said. It all started innocently enough. I saw a lone crow in my yard, and I tossed it a cracker. Harmless, right? Wrong! Sorry. This single act of kindness seems to have spread through the crow grapevine, and now I have a full-blown murder of crows as my constant companions. Every morning I step outside and they're there, perched in nearby trees, cawing like they're clocking into their day jobs. They follow me on walks, and yesterday one even dropped off a shiny gum wrapper at my feet. I think they're trying to pay me in crow currency, which is both endearing and slightly unnerving. At this point, I've accepted my new role as their unofficial snack provider and accidental overlord. I'm genuinely curious to see how this goes. Maybe I'll end up with the crow army or a collection of shining gifts. Either way, it's a wild ride and I'm here for it. I read the comments on this and people are like, yeah, bro, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories of this, that they will bring you little gifts and stuff.
That's how that's just, all animals do it. Cats bring dead birds. Birds bring shiny objects.
But you can train them to bring you certain things. Like if you're like, only bring me quarters, they will do that.
Because you say that, only bring me quarters.
No. You have to like show them. Be like, this, not this. I am making up the how, but the why is true.
Are you planning on having an army of crows?
Well, that's kind of why, like, not only did the story itself intrigue me, but I was curious. As I thought about this, I was like, I don't think I'd want an army of crows. But I was like, what animal would I want to have at my disposal?
Dogs, cats.
Cats?
Yeah, I know you're allergic, but they have claws. They can hurt. But they're also snuggly and cuddly. But they will protect you.
I came to two conclusions.
Okay.
The second one was that crows might actually be the answer. But the first one was mice or rats. I know that's gross.
It doesn't gross me out.
And I know that the rat catcher is already a comic book villain, persona, whatever. And Ratcatcher 2 was even in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I was going to say, like in Suicide, I almost called it Peacemaker, but I knew it was Suicide Squad. Yeah,
same diff. Peacemaker's in that movie.
Yeah, I know.
But
that's
he
died.
No, he didn't. He got a whole series after
that. That's right.
Spoilers.
That's right. He wasn't one of the ones in the beginning.
No, but he died in the movie, but then he wasn't dead. They're like, just kidding. He's alive because John Cena's too good to kill. But I was like...
Oh, Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher 2? Is that what you're talking about?
Did he die? She?
I don't think Ratcatcher 2 died.
Oh, I remember her now.
Yeah. And her dad was Taika Waititi in that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I digress.
Sorry.
I think that's genius because there's mice everywhere across the world.
Yeah, that's true.
They can get into little spaces. You can train them. They're smart enough to do your bidding. They can definitely attack and overwhelm things.
That's true.
And
they have babies so quick.
Yeah.
They're like rabbits.
Yeah. So I think mice might be the answer.
Yeah.
But crows are pretty great too.
Listen, this is an unpopular opinion, but I think crows are really beautiful.
Really?
I've told you this before.
Yeah. Oh,
and
was
I
that
also
it?
think that they're a sign of bad luck. At least that's what I've been told my entire life. And I'm trying to rewrite
Those
that.
are ravens, I think, which are just big crows. Maybe.
I always thought it was crows. I don't know. I'm trying to rewrite that part because I go, that can't be true.
You're rewriting the narrative of
Rewriting the
birds in your
narrative
life.
that they're right because I just think they're so pretty. Because I used to say if you see one, it's a bad omen.
That's true.
Not a raven.
Do you believe in bad omens now?
I don't know.
I kind of do and kind of don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe that there's actual power in that stuff, but I also am like, if I'm getting the sign, if I'm getting the message, I'm going to go on the safe side. I always follow my gut. Even when I'm walking home, I have 2 paths to walk home usually.
And if your gut tells you to go the other way, you'll go the other way.
I will go the way that my gut tells me to go.
I do the same thing. And sometimes I've been known, I mean, maybe not by you, but I've been known that if I'm walking, at least if I'm alone, if I'm walking a certain way and I really felt like I should have gone the other way, if I continue to walk the way that I wanted to walk and I feel uncomfortable, I'll turn around and go back the other way.
Especially as a lady, it's a good vibe.
Yeah, you have to.
Check.
You have to.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
Have a little tenderness.
Yeah.
I don't know what song that is, but I know it from Shrek. Donkey does that. Yeah. How do you know you're a millennial? That would be it. There's one other thing.
Him,
You've met Eddie Murphy or Shrek? Oh, the actual character Shrek?
Yeah.
You have? When? Where was I? Was I standing right next to you in the booth?
We have pictures with him.
Lots of pictures.
I also met Fiona, but I didn't get a picture with her because the sun was going down.
Yeah. And that's how committed to the continuity they are. Is when the sun goes down and Fiona canonically changes into an ogress, they switch her out. You don't get to see her anymore. There was one other, it was kind of a question story. Well, I guess it is a question that was posed that I wanted to get your take on and also tell you some of the answers that I got as well. There's a question that was posed, and the question was, what is something that people assume is normal in a relationship, but is actually toxic? Which it would be too much to assume that you'd have an answer right now. Unless you're like, here's this thing you always do. But let me give you a few of the answers.
No, I definitely don't have an answer right now.
So the question is, what do people perceive as normal in a relationship, but is actually toxic? Here's a few of the top answers. Embarrassing your partner at social gatherings. That one hit me hard, not because of you, but because of past relationships.
I don't like that. It's mean. We're supposed to be a partnership.
I know, but there's something when teasing goes beyond that and goes into embarrassing that I've seen in a lot of couples.
Yeah, it's not okay, guys. You're partners. You're supposed to be the safest person. And if the other person is laughing and it's good, that's cool. But like, you're supposed to be the one that keeps them safe and protects them from that.
Mm-hmm. Here's one that I think we can all connect to. Avoiding arguments to keep the peace. Also, what just happened was I took a sip of water and it's halfway down the wrong pipe. And I was like, I'm going to power through. I'm going to avoid it. Avoiding arguments to keep the peace. I think that one happens a lot.
I don't like that one. Just say how you feel.
Talk
about it.
This is all things that seem normal but are toxic. And both of them, you've been like, I don't like it. I don't think you're going to like any of the examples.
Yeah.
That's just inherently the answer to the question.
I'm very tired. It's not your fault.
It's all right. I'll get you through this.
And it's hot in here.
I know, it's a little warm.
So I'm like hot and tired.
Hot
and I'm like,
tired.
Sleepy.
Yeah, you're getting all warm.
But power through for you guys. Anyway.
Testing your parents' love by doing things to make them jealous. Oh, I'm sorry. This says partner's love.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't feel like it fits within the category we just talked about.
I mean, relationships are relationships, romantic or otherwise.
It was just confusing.
Testing your partner's love by doing things to make them jealous or make them fight for you or making outrageous demands to see how far they'll go to prove their love for you.
I mean, that doesn't seem normal. That just seems toxic.
I've heard this a ton. And I had this experience even with like a first girlfriend that I had, which was like, I kept hanging out with guys without you and all this stuff to see if you would break up with me or if you would fight for me. And I was like, I'm too much of a lover, soft boy to fight. Like, let's just be kind. Let's not.
Yeah, I'm just not used to that. That's not something that I would.
That's never been.
Well, no, it has. Let's be clear. It has. But I wouldn't look at that and be like, yeah, that's normal. I'd be like, that's weird. That because this whole thing is like that most people consider normal, but is actually toxic. I'm like, that just seems straight up toxic to me.
That makes sense.
How about this one? It doesn't seem normal.
Expecting people to pick up on subtle signals and signs instead of having open, clear, respectful communication.
That's toxic. I do that.
I do that too.
Or I used to do that.
I still do it sometimes.
My toxic trait
Oh.
is that when I feel like it could be you, it could be friends.
Yeah.
I used to do this with Andy all the time. I'll say, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" Instead of being like, "Hey, you seem off today. Did I do something wrong, or are we okay? Like, did I mess something up?" I just like to get a feel and go, "Are you okay?" And normally the person goes, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "But are you sure?"
Because it's too broad of a question.
Yeah. But it's hard for me because it's like baseline for me to be like, I'm just kind of like dipping the toe in to be like, before I like dive straight into the pool.
Yeah.
I'm going like, are you, do I need to dive into the pool in 30-degree weather? You okay? It's what it feels like.
Yeah, I get that. Then that's tricky too, because we've had to learn that in our relationship too. Like, you're only going to get the answer to the question you ask. And if your question is like not specific enough.
But if I this is what I've always struggled with in this, which I'm telling you, I know it's toxic, but if I'm asking you if you're okay and there's something wrong, then you're not okay. But most people say, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay." Like, but you're not, because something is bugging you. And so you're not okay.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, "It's the wrong question to ask." I'm like, it seems like the right question to ask to me. I'm asking if you're feeling okay, if you're doing okay, if you're mentally okay, if you're physically okay, if your heart's okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, but I think
is something wrong?
If someone's not okay, the question, "Are you okay?" is not an intentional enough question to ask them to be like, let me open up with why I'm not okay to this person, who can't even say, "Hey, I noticed that you seem off today. Is there anything that you need from me or anything I can do?" And just so if you need to know, like, hey, if you want to chat through it, assuming I'm not part of the problem, like I'm here for you.
Yeah.
That's, or anything other than just like, "You good?"
Hey, we cool?
Yeah.
Cool. My toes dipped in. I'm out.
Yeah. Last one. And this one has 561 upvotes. Hating your partner. I've met so many people who talk about their partners like they're the worst person in the world.
Yeah, that's why we started this podcast.
It's like literally.
We hated each other. Just kidding.
It is literally like one of the big reasons, is because we were so tired of seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. It was like every time you would scroll or you would talk to people, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm so grateful that my spouse is going out or away for the weekend, whatever. I finally get some me time, or like I can be left alone, or I'm not being annoyed." And I was like, I don't feel that way about my spouse.
Yeah.
I actually talk to him not quite 24/7 because we sleep, but any moment outside of that,
we're
talking, unless he's like, "Let me listen to my podcast."
My book.
And I'm like, "Let me watch TV."
And I do.
Yeah.
24/7.
No, but you know what I mean?
When we sleep.
Like, we like being around each other. So that's actually the reason why we started this podcast, which I don't know that we've ever said on the show.
I think we have quite a few times.
Well, I don't know that I've ever said it on the show. So I'm saying it.
I mean, that's the truth though. Yeah. Is that we wanted to have a little representation for people who actually enjoy being around each other.
Yeah.
Like us.
Like us.
Although my mom brought up a good point. Actually, she helped me get to a good point, that you and I tend to be happily codependent in a lot of great ways, but also she had mentioned like you are very much an anchor for me, and not having that sometimes can send me into panicky places.
Yeah.
Because I've become a bit dependent on you for those things.
Which we should figure out at some point. Not that I want you to get rid of me or don't want to be around you, but I also want you to be a whole person on your own who's capable of. I feel like there's no way to end that sentence in a way that's positive. That's
you can just say a whole person. That's
a whole person, but what I'm trying to communicate is like who's capable of being okay at all times, even when things are not great, like even when I'm not around, that you can remind yourself the things that I remind you, or give yourself whatever it is I give you.
Yeah.
That makes you be like, well, we're okay. We're stuck in Canada, but it's fine.
Yeah. So that's still pretty triggering. That's the thing. And I'm learning this too via other sources and about myself. Some of us aren't able to self-validate and be like, "You're good, who you are." Some of us have to be on a stage to convince themselves like, "Oh, I just won over a room of 1,000 people. I am good enough." Or like, "Tell me how great I did." So I know we like can only get validation externally.
Yeah.
And while I don't fully fit into that category, I do fit in it pretty well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I mean, that's why you are in the job that you're in.
It's kind of ironic because as someone who finds his self-worth from the validation of other people, I picked a job that is like, let's go see if you can do that. in real time. And it's a little bit like stand-up comedy. Art is often subjective. You can make a movie and 50% of the people love it and 50% hate it. Well, what's the difference? I don't know. Some people really got it and loved it, and some people didn't.
Yeah.
Like you can create a painting, and some people be like, it's beautiful, and some people be like, I can do that. It's all subjective. When it comes to like stand-up comedy or hosting live events, you are getting real-time feedback as to whether or not this is working.
Kind of sucks.
Are they tracking? Are they laughing? Are they responding? Are they doing the things that you're asking them to do? Or are they totally checked out? Like it is trial by fire.
Yeah.
Which
is both good and bad for you.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if I need a break from that. I wonder if that's why on-camera hosting has been a little bit more fun too, because you get a few takes to do stuff if you need to.
Probably.
You know, I don't know. Were you holding on to something?
No, I'm holding on to my ring.
Okay, perfect.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Because I just think you've been in this game for a really long time without quite figuring out how to give yourself that positive reinforcement that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I think it wears on you in the same way that I left my job after 10 years because I was like, man, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Of telling myself that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And that I matter and I'm valued without it really always being shown.
Yeah. I also care way too much, even about things that maybe aren't that important when it comes to work. And I think while I don't feel like a perfectionist in my personal life, I do feel that professionally. And so whether it's needing to get back to your, Hollywood gig on my trip, or needing to have everything perfect on my own gig on stage or whatever, or even being like that game or that activity or that opener, like that didn't go as well as it's gone before, or as well as I wanted it to. Like I'll beat myself up over that for a long time rather than being like, all right, and in 2 hours, we're going to go up and do something, try something new. I realize this too. I've been talking to you about it. Like, I kind of can define my entire day by a single feeling or emotion. Like, oh man, I feel panicky. I hope that doesn't happen. But now today was a rough day because I had a panic feeling, rather than like, I felt panicky for 3 minutes and the rest of the day was fine.
Yeah, you've been doing a better job about that though recently, I would say. You've been really like trying to be intentional with naming the actual truth of the feeling versus being like, man, I was panicky all day. But being like, no, I was panicky for like a couple of minutes and this was why.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it out and I'm saying like, I'm okay.
I'm really trying to. I realize a lot of it has to do with mindset versus actual reality.
Yeah. You're doing a really good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am trying.
Yeah, I know. I see it.
Thanks. Hey, you know what day it is, right?
March 26th.
How did you know?
I'm on it. I actually did know.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the day of the event.
Oh, yeah.
Well, March 28th is Friday, so.
Wow. And then March 29th is Saturday.
Yep.
Or is that April 1st?
No, I think.
Look, here's something that I don't talk about a lot. I have zero understanding of which months have how many days.
Well, we definitely know that March has more than 28 days because there's only one month that has 28 days unless it's leap year.
False. Every month has 28 days.
Yeah. But only has 28 days.
Yeah.
There's only one month that only has 28 days. Unless it's leap year.
Yeah, and that's why I know February. But all the others...
I'm pretty sure March has 31 days.
Couldn't tell you. Also, just truly doesn't matter to me.
And then we're in April 1st. April Fools.
Are we? But
anyways,
now...
What happened that day?
So much happened.
What day again? March
26th. Because people need to know that happened today is the name of the segment.
Thank you, March 26th.
A lot of fun things happen. Well, you know what? Let me rephrase that, knowing what I'm about to go into. A lot of things happened. You know,
some fun, some not.
Some not, depending on how you look at it. But you and I, one of our favorite things to do is watch documentaries about cults.
That's true.
And we have seen quite a few.
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one where they were branding themselves?
I don't know. That was
that in NXIVM?
NXIVM, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a V or an N or something.
Well, it was the initials of...
NXIVM.
No, of the dude, whoever the leader
yeah.
was. Anyway, we love it. A large cult thing happened on March 26th in 1997.
Was that when they all drank the Kool-Aid?
Oh my gosh. 1997, authorities discovered the bodies of 39 members of the Heaven's Gate cult.
We watched that one too.
Rancho Santa Fe. Do you remember anything about it? Because I've got the notes. What do you remember?
He thought he was an alien or something like that from
another planet.
From another planet. Him and his wife.
wife, partner, something.
Who I think died.
She passed before this all happened.
Before this all happened. And then...
were they named like Mima and Bobop or something? Like they had weird names.
Maybe. But I do remember that she died, and it was started like very small, and people were really bought into it, and then people started leaving, and it got kind of weird. Because wasn't he sick too?
Maybe.
Towards the end.
Look, the fact that only 39 people were committed to the vision tells you that things were probably
it's because
falling
he
off.
like moved away, and a bunch of people had left, and he was like, this is the true thing. And so he tricked them too. I don't think they knew that drinking the Kool-Aid. Maybe they did.
Oh, really?
I don't really remember. Or maybe it was like, when we drink this, we're all going to
ascend together. Well, that was the thing, is they believed that they would ascend to an extraterrestrial spacecraft following the Haley-Bopp comet, which is probably where I got the Bopp name from.
I think that is that's the name of the girl that died.
Haley-Bopp?
Something like that.
Beep bop boop. I mean, that is what I was guessing earlier, but it may have just been because I had already read the name of the comet.
But I think that's pretty impressive that I remembered the alien part of this, because that's like not a lot of cults. A lot of cults are like, I am Mother God, or I am God. Or,
that was a good one, by the way, the Mother God one.
Yeah.
Where she drank all the turquoise water or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And then she died, but they kept her body, and she like self-mummified. It was
so weird.
It was wild. People are weird, man.
Wild.
People will go to long distances to get what they want.
Well, they believed that she was going to be reincarnated. That's what she told them. Is that my body will be here, but don't do anything with it because I'm going to come back.
So is that reincarnated, or is that
not
resurrected?
Resurrected, yeah.
Spoilers.
She wasn't.
That didn't happen. She was half right
she died of cancer or something like that.
I don't know what the actual cause of death was for them, but I do know that in 1997 it was from drinking the Kool-Aid. But that's not the only fun thing that happened on March 26th. Something much more enjoyable. In 2005, the BBC relaunched the iconic science fiction television.
Who?
How did you know?
Because
it was BBC and an iconic science fiction story.
And it was Chris
Eccleston
for one season, and then it was David Tennant, and then it was Matt Smith. David Tennant, and I love David Tennant and Matt Smith.
Yeah, so that's why I brought it up.
And then it was
I know you're
Peter,
a Whovian,
Peter Capaldi, who was not my favorite, and I kind of stopped watching.
Now, actually, no, not now, because the next Doctor, what was her name?
I can't remember, but she was great too. I think she only did 2 seasons, and now it's their first
Black Doctor,
and he's supposed to be really good. I need to jump back on the train.
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with his work prior to this, but I'm sure he's great.
But I was a huge Doctor Who fan, and I really loved. I'll go back to Chris Eccleston's seasons, and I appreciate them now for what they are, but I did not appreciate it at the time. But I think it was 1 season with him, 3 seasons with David Tennant, and I think 3 seasons with Matt Smith.
That sounds right.
Those 7 seasons were amazing. And then there was a couple specials that I should watch. So there were specials where they came back.
Oh yeah, where multiple doctors were there. Yeah, I'm not sure that Chris Eccleston came back. Matt Smith, I think, came back. Some of the companions, I almost called them sidekicks. Companions came back.
Yeah, some of the big favorites.
Well, they always do. Typically, they always do. I think a Christmas episode.
They do,
because I believe it's the longest running TV series of all time. Because I think it started in the '60s, and because they always did Christmas specials, it's still kind of counted as an ongoing series.
Yeah, so they do Christmas specials. Yeah, the girl that plays Penelope was in one recently from Bridgerton, was in one of those specials, as well as he was in 2 episodes, but Carpool Karaoke.
James Corden
was he was in a Christmas special, and then they brought him back for as the same character for another episode later on. It was really fun.
It's the same. Oh yeah, and he plays a really cute character. And I think the doctor's like his roommate in the episode.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but he is. Yeah. It's Matt Smith, and
it's really fun. Anyways, enough nerdy talk about that. But I do like Doctor Who quite a bit. Yeah. Well, the Angels one was the very first one I ever watched.
Don't blink.
Don't blink. And I would highly recommend. It does not really give you a good idea of who Doctor Who is, but it does give you a good idea of the series in general. And they play a huge role in the series, The Angels.
Well, speaking of long-running TV programs, did your mom ever watch soap operas? Because I have a vague recollection that
General
she did.
Hospital.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Is that her go-to? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not what happened here.
Yeah, but these are the days of our lives.
That's a good one, too. Probably. Okay. I've actually never seen...
The Bold and the Beautiful.
Wow, you know a lot of soap operas.
Yeah, my mom watched a lot of them. The Young and the Restless.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah, it was like The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives. General Hospital, GH.
Any guesses of when this soap opera debuted or premiered on CBS? What year?
1973.
Wow, that is correct.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Man, I'm killing it today.
Oh, wow, that was amazing. It debuted or premiered on CBS, eventually becoming one of the longest running daytime dramas in TV history.
But it's no longer on anymore. The Young and the Restless.
I do not have that information.
Days of Our Lives isn't on anymore.
Is that a question mark or a period?
It is not on anymore that I know of. I'm pretty sure that show was canceled. And I think The Bold and the Beautiful might not exist anymore either. I don't know.
I don't know.
General Hospital still is, though.
Like I said, I've never seen it, but those are like a boot camp for actors.
Oh, 100%.
Because they say it's like a play a day.
Yeah, but some of those actors, like that's just what they do, and they've lived. Like Sonny, the guy that plays Sonny in General Hospital. I mean, he'll that's been his whole career for as long as I don't watch it anymore. But he's been on that show since I was a kid, and
Really?
had already been on it for a very long time.
Yeah,
and people will come back.
that's crazy.
To play their characters. It is the weirdest thing though, because I mean, I guess if we think about it, like prior to recently, people, we talk about this a lot when we talk about Batman, like Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, all those ones.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't normal for characters or actors to play the same character in
Continuity. Yeah.
in multiple things until like more recently, until the
Until the internet was invented.
Yeah, late
like,
90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. It's like, it has to be the same person.
So it is a little bit weird that in soap operas, I mean, there is a lot of continuity. If you're a good actor and you want to stay there, you will play in that part for forever. But it is an interesting thing because every now and then, you know, like a character might have an opportunity. And so that character, that actress or actor might go and do that thing, but they just replace that actor, that actress with a different character.
Right. A different actor.
Yeah. But it's so interesting because I know General Hospital the most because my mom still watches it and because her and I used to watch it all the time when I was younger. But it's funny to watch some of these actors come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wow, like that's the OG Lucky.
Yeah.
That was like on there. Jonathan something. I freaking loved him. He was in a movie with Alexis Bledel.
Yeah. Shout out to Jonathan something.
I can't remember his last name.
Groff.
No. But he was lucky, and he is lucky again. Or Sonny's wife, that I can't remember right now, but Carly. But it was like a different Carly.
Shout out to Carly something.
No, her
related
character's
to Jonathan something.
Her character's name is Carly.
Got it.
And she left, and then a different actor replaced her. But now that the original actor is back, it's so funny. And they always make little jokes of like, "Wow, you've changed your hair," or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just so funny.
How do you feel about continuity in terms of actors for roles? Do you care, or does it depend on the circumstance?
I care more now than I did.
If they swapped out a Bridgerton actor or actress,
that'd be difficult for me.
Yeah, maybe it's because there's not that many seasons, and you're kind of in love with the story.
Yeah, let's talk about Harry Potter.
That was literally where I was bridging to get to. How do you feel about Snape?
The new Snape they just cast?
Yeah, is that not what you were going to talk about?
No, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know. There's just stupid internet controversy right now.
But you know who this is. I can see him in my head. Yeah. I
actually have only heard about this story. For those who don't know what we're talking about, there is a reboot of Harry Potter coming to HBO/Max. It's a TV series, not a movie series. And there's internet controversy because Snape, formerly played by the late, great Alan Rickman, it has been recast with an actor who happens to be black. And the whole internet was like, we can't do that, which I always think is stupid. It is interesting because we have this character, and I think it'd be different for me if it was like, this is them as kids, and then it wouldn't make a ton of sense if you're like, that character is a different gender or ethnicity because they grow up to be something else. But this is just like a reboot of the series. It could be whatever it wants to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I know who Alan Rickman is.
Yeah, that's the new Harry Potter. Yeah, I think, does he look like that with dreads? That's kind of cool.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, that type of stuff doesn't really bug me as much. Sometimes it does. I mean, we've talked about certain things with Bridgerton that like really bugged me as someone who read the books and really struggled with some of the changes that they made this last season. Not because I disagree with the thing itself, but because I feel like it actively changes the storyline for that character. That is what bugs me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, don't change the storyline. The color of someone's skin or changing of the gender like doesn't necessarily bug me if it doesn't change the storyline.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Does that make sense? And for this, I think I look at it and go, Alan Rickman I mean, was just an incredible Snape. I mean, incredible actor. Let's just be clear. But he was an incredible Snape, and he was a character that we loved to hate and hated to love. And we did. We did both of those things. I think anytime that you reboot something, it is difficult to like replace that character.
Sure.
And so when I look at this new Harry Potter thing, I think I go, I don't know that it necessarily feels right to replace Snape with someone who looks like a young Alan Rickman, because that's not necessarily the goal. And I think if you did that, all of us would just be comparing him to that.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't get away with like the Harry Potters and the Hermiones and the Rons, whoever you're going to, like, it's a little kid that you'll probably will compare to the other actors, but it feels different in some ways. But as far as the teachers go, I mean, you could say anything. Who knows who's going to play Maggie Smith's character, Professor McGonagall? Who's going to play Dumbledore? You can have an issue with that.
Maybe.
Like at the end of the day, I go, they're creating a story that's meant to cross generations and like different cultures as well. And if you're bringing someone in, I don't care if, as long as they're a good actor and as long as we don't change the storyline. Like I don't want Snape to all of a sudden, I don't know, love Harry and be kind to him all the time. I'd be like, there's something wrong here. You know what I mean? But if he's a good actor, I just don't have the same issue with that type of stuff.
I really don't.
And that's coming from the person, like, I love Bridgerton. I've read every single Bridgerton book. I love the fact that there's so much diversity in the TV show. That is not how it's written in the book. That's not how it would have been back then.
Right.
But like, I don't care. I'm like, I think it's cool.
Sure.
Again, don't change the storyline.
Yeah. My take on all of that is, especially right now, every day brings its own new, fresh hell of brutality and violence and insanity. I know it sounds like a phone is constantly ringing, but it's not mine or yours.
It's not mine.
The real world is, there's so much stuff to actually care about.
Yeah.
I cannot find it in me to care about something like what we're talking about in terms of a big deal. I care about talking to you about it, but like, there's always this huge percentage. It feels like, actually, let me say this. There's a vocal, obnoxious minority of white Americans who always get angry anytime a person of color replaces a white person.
Yeah.
We saw it with the Little Mermaid live action remake. Not my mermaid.
Yeah, whatever.
Not
She
my
was incredible.
Snape. It's like, it's so dumb. These are made up characters.
Yeah. And I'd have to go back. I mean, I'd have to go back and read the character description. I'm guessing that it does fit more of the OG of like Alan Rickman's thing. But like, Hermione was supposed to be not white.
Really? In the books?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All I know...
His darker skin is what I think it describes her as. So like...
Really? All I know is she had one magical parent and one non-magical parent.
No, I think they are both non-magic.
No, because she was called a mudblood, which would imply that one was magic and one wasn't.
Well, one was a dentist.
See, that's probably the non-magic one.
I know. I don't know that I think a mudblood is just someone who's not a pure blood.
What's a pure blood?
Someone who was born into a magical family with two magical parents.
So what would be a mudblood then?
Someone who doesn't have magical parents.
At all?
Yeah, because if you could be born to magical parents and not have magic and you're a muggle. She wasn't a muggle because she had magic.
You wouldn't be a muggle if you had magical powers.
No, I know. I'm saying that's the difference. I'm going to look it up.
Okay, now that we are in the lore of Harry Potter.
This is a Harry Potter podcast now.
Harry Potter podcast. Are you telling me that they're in the world of Harry Potter?
A mudblood is, as mentioned before, which I didn't say that, but this is a witch or wizard born by non-magical parents.
So two non-magic people can have a magic baby?
Yeah.
Then we definitely should have kids.
Because it will be a mudblood. But that's a negative term for it.
Okay? I know. I called someone a mudblood as a joke one time because they're a big Harry Potter fan, and they took actual real offense to this. To be fair, I should have just called them a muggle because that would have been more accurate.
Yeah.
Because they weren't even magic.
Well, here's the other part of this. Harry is considered a half-blood.
He's also considered a prince from what I hear.
Because maybe that was not
Snape.
Him. That's okay. Because
Which Snape? White Snape or black Snape?
Both. Because he has both muggle and magical ancestry. Because both of his parents, James and Lily, were both like magic. Witches or wizards. But Lily was a muggle born.
So his mom had muggle parents.
So if you're looking at the derogatory name, she would have been a mudblood, which would make Harry a half-blood.
So I mean, what a great allegory for how people feel about interracial dating and marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what this is talking about, right?
Yeah. And also Voldemort was a half-blood, so.
and
This
he
guy
was the worst.
And he was like, we need to make everyone pure bloods. I'm like, you're not even a pure blood.
Yeah, nor do you even have a nose.
That's true.
But
also,
shout out to Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes.
He's amazing.
And he's in
so
everything.
I know.
There's some people who are just dedicated to the craft. Him, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart, not so much, but he's in a lot.
I wouldn't consider him. He's in a lot, but no. Also, I would say this as we're talking about Harry Potter stuff, then we can move on. I will put it out into the universe that it would bring my heart so much joy if Tom Felton played Lucius Malfoy.
That is pretty good.
And I'm really hoping that actually follows through. I know he's down to do it. I'm just really hoping that they do that because obviously he can't be Draco, but he could be Lucius.
Speaking of putting things out into the universe, Kellie would also love to be a part of capturing the memories at any of these upcoming Harry Potter events, premieres.
Give me in with the or I guess it's not the WB. This is
but
I
don't know where it is now.
NBC or Universal because that's where it's all at is all the Universal properties.
That's where the wizarding world of Harry Potter is. But I don't know. But I'm just putting it out there. She'd love to do that.
I'm in there.
She'd love to do How to Train Your Dragon live. That premiere. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. You see, I have this one activation called Photos in Motion. I've already done a Harry Potter one. It's so fun. Let's do it again, Universal.
It literally, well, we did that on our own. We didn't even get asked to do it.
Make trading cards where they go back and forth. I think I could do that.
Like the ones in the chocolate frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it.
Not quite that shape, but.
Shout out to everyone who listens to us and hires people for Harry Potter events.
I'm ready to try things, guys. Let's go.
All right, let's move on.
Or have your own.
We are long in the tooth here already, which is not what that means. But a few notable passings that happened on March 26th. Ludwig van Beethoven.
Aww.
Yeah. You guess any guesses on how old Beethoven was?
I think that's Beethoven.
I don't know, but my next question was going to be, what's your favorite Beethoven song? But we already have the answer. Doodle-doo, a doodle-doo.
82.
Wow. Okay. Well, he passed in 1827. Does that help at all?
No.
I'm just saying life expectancies and asbestocies.
So here's the
not
deal.
Quite as long as now.
Yeah, I said 82 and I was like, that seems crazy.
Seems
but
high.
my brain went, it probably is. Okay, 53.
56.
Okay.
Not so bad in terms of guessing. Not so great for a long life.
Yeah, no.
He did live longer than my father, though. So that's good.
Yeah,
and my
he also
dad didn't write any
accomplished
piano
more.
music. Yeah. Did a lot more. Wish my dad was Beethoven.
Is that even Beethoven?
I have no idea because I couldn't name a single Beethoven song because I'm uncultured. I think I'm arpeggio in D.
I'm gonna sing it into what's that thing?
Shazam.
Shazam and see.
I think Shazam is gonna go away forever now that AI is taking over.
Well, I'm still gonna use it.
Well, speaking of AI, I've got some unpleasant AI stories to get to.
Okay, but who else died?
Well, one other person.
We hate you, March 26th.
Yeah, well, we also lost Walt Whitman, influential American poet and other things.
Yeah.
There's a whole list, but didn't feel like getting into it. When we could get into birthdays.
Oh.
March 26th, birthdays for other poets like Robert Frost, whose poem you don't know. Every time I bring up this poet and the road less traveled, or the road not taken. I can't even use words.
You've said this to me before, though, so.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both.
That's true.
It is the east, and Juliet is the sun.
That's
not
his?
how it
It's
goes.
not
No,
his,
that's
yeah.
Shakespeare. Well, the second part was Shakespeare. First part was his. Anyway, happy birthday to that guy who's
He
not
just
here
has
anymore.
a school out here.
Robert Frost?
Yeah.
Oh, Frost.
Middle school.
Middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. I bet it's between two
Ferns.
ferns.
Just kidding.
Shout out to last night. 1911, Tennessee Williams was born, a playwright famous for plays like A Streetcar Named Desire. 1944, happy birthday to iconic American singer and actress Diana frickin' Ross.
Yeah.
That's right. She was in the Supremes, of course, before having a solo career for many years. In 1948, Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith, was born. And
Don't want to close my eyes. I listened to that song so many times after that movie, whatever
Armageddon?
movie it was. Yeah.
To clear the floor, I got to drop some names here. I was doing a private party for Brad Pitt after his movie at Astra, and in walked
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler, And I was like, I have to do something. At the time, he was like one of the judges on Idol or something like that. And while I wasn't going to play an Aerosmith song there, I took the lick from Walk This Way. And I just isolated that and played it over a track. I don't know if he ever heard it, but it was a pretty good moment for me.
That's good.
Yeah. Shout out to Steven Tyler and
That's
Brad
pretty
Pitt.
cool.
Yeah. You can do with you what you will with those names.
Who's the most famous person you have on your phone? I'm just kidding.
Brad Pitt, oddly enough. Yeah.
No.
Last birthday,
So
1985. You know her, you love her. She was stuck in a corset in 15 Pirates of the Caribbean
Keira Knightley,
movies.
baby.
Keira Knightley.
Thanks, March 26th.
Happy birthday, and thanks to March 26th.
Thanks.
Did you have a crush on Orlando Bloom?
No, Simone did. I did not.
Yeah. So was it in that movie, who was the dream? Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
Just kidding. I don't really know. I did love those movies a lot, but
they were great.
The way that,
they're rebooting them. And I think with a female Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes, who
Or
we know.
Jacqueline Sparrow? We know this person? Or we just know who's playing the role?
We know who's playing the role. What's it called? Pirates?
Of the Caribbean.
I was going to say Captain Jack Sparrow.
The new Captain Jack. Jaquita Sparrow.
Jaquita. Reboot. Jerry Bruckheimer is
He did all
potentially doing
those
it.
originals.
No Johnny Depp. Oh, Margot Robbie is supposed to be the new person.
I'm in.
I know. Well, that's
She's
what I'm
great.
saying. I was like, we know who this person is, and we love this actress. But I was like, I cannot think of who it is. It's Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie can do no wrong in my book. She's pretty great. And she was great as Barbie, great as Harley Quinn. She was great in Wolf of Wall Street.
But I will say this:
Great
who
as
knows if this will
Itanya.
be, because it does say Entertainment Weekly reported that there was a female led spinoff project with Margot Robbie, but it was scrapped, and now the focus is on the reboot. So hopefully,
Well, that would be a
it's
reboot.
still her.
Either way, she's busy. We'll be seeing lots of her. She's got Barbie movie 2 coming out at some point. Which,
Really?
I mean, yeah, it's been greenlit. We all know it's not going to be
Greta deserves a nomination.
100%. And this is speaking nothing of the first movie, which
she
was
just had a baby.
amazing. All I'm saying is you can't recapture the magic in a second film the way that you did that moment.
Sure.
So why even do it? Because it's America. It's capitalism, baby.
But maybe they have a good story.
It's possible.
You know?
I wouldn't know. I hope that Barbie crosses over with Captain Jack Sparrow. That would be the movie I'd want to
Maybe.
see.
But Margot Robbie, I'm pretty sure just had a baby.
Oh, I thought you meant Greta Gerwig. Margot Robbie had a baby?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh. Stop looking it up.
I would want to know. I feel like I'm giving fake information. All right. Okay. Keira Knightley.
Yeah, no, we're well beyond that now. We've already finished that whole segment. we're moving on into a couple stories and unpop of pins. In fact, I think we'll probably skip over most of the stories. Yeah, okay.
October 17th.
You might as well say it out loud. Everyone's
She
wondering.
welcomed her baby on October 17th.
Oh, thanks,
Good for her.
October 17th.
She worked really hard last year.
All
so.
moms work hard to have babies.
But I meant like working wise.
Did she?
She had a lot of stuff coming. Like she has worked really hard for a really long time.
Yeah, she's great.
All leading up to Barbie and then her taking a break, which is great.
She's great. I love her.
Anyways.
Some stories. This one's going to bum you out, and I've been saving it, and I have not talked to you about it. I mean, it's like a first world problem for sure, but it's going to bum you out.
I swear to God, if you tell me that Legos are discontinued or that they're taking something that I love away, I'm going to lose it.
This September, Legos are going out of stores.
No.
And also, things that Kellie loves will be gone too. Now, everything you say to your Echo will soon be sent to Amazon, and you cannot opt out of it. This is the part of the AI future that I hate, is that everyone just wants to collect all of your data. And now the things that they strategically put in your home that have cameras and microphones, they no longer care about the privacy, and they are just going to capture all of that and probably keep selling your information and creating better algorithms so you'll keep buying toilet paper.
I feel like
them.
that should be illegal because when
It
I
should.
bought my Echo, that wasn't something I agreed to. I bought a device that does the things I need it to do, which is play ocean sounds at nighttime, tell me what the weather is,
That's about it.
and ask me questions for our whole family to vote on.
Oh, yeah.
You're like dogs or cats more.
Thank you. Yeah. That information you can have. Even worse news.
And sometimes she listens to me when I don't want her to, and I don't want
That's
that
true.
going back to
Oh, yeah.
Anybody? I don't know what
Well,
I say.
that's a good question, too, is like, is it only going to be recording and listening to the things that you say when you say the name of the device or just always? There's no info on that. But this episode coming out on March 26th, not a lot of time for you guys to prepare because this is going to happen on March 28th.
Truly?
Yes, this upcoming Friday, Amazon will discontinue its Do Not Send Voice Recordings feature on its Echo devices. The change means that all voice commands will be transmitted to and processed in Amazon's cloud servers, even if users have previously opted out of the processing.
How is that legal?
Here's what I know. Nothing matters anymore because if billionaires and corporations want to do something, they just do it and nothing happens.
And there's no
to
consequences.
them. We are truly living in a world of no consequences, and it's all kind of falling apart. I think it's all falling apart. But anyway, if you've got an Amazon Echo like we do, it might be time to reassess that.
What other options are there?
I cannot tell you in terms of what companies do or don't take your data
I'm
and
just
information.
asking about options.
But Google has their Google Homes.
Maybe we do that.
Apple has the Apple HomePods.
Maybe we do one of those.
And I'm sure that just about any mid-sized tech company has.
Truly,
their
I don't
version.
need to see all the things that are being ordered between you, your mom, and your sister on my Amazon.
On my Amazon account.
Yeah, but I meant on my whatever, my Echo.
The Echo.
So we can get something different.
Deal. We'll figure out what that
Unplug
is
'em.
off air. We even have one in the studio, although it's not plugged in here yet.
No, because
So-
it plays music randomly, and we don't know why.
Oh, yeah. It'll just start playing the Macarena at random times. It's pretty great. It's a good bit. Well, on to lighter news. And by that, I mean crime news. There was a story from the other day that I had to skip when we had Bo on here because we ran out of time. And I would like to hit those first. First, a Florida man allegedly swallowed 2 pairs of stolen Tiffany & Co. diamond earrings valued at approximately $770,000 during his arrest.
Was he trying to do it so that he could smuggle them out of Florida
Yes,
or wherever he was?
I think he's a Texas dude, but
I don't know why I said Florida.
No, I did say Florida.
Okay.
It happened in Florida, and it says a Florida man. Yeah, I haven't read the story in 2 weeks, but he is from Texas. Jathan Lawrence Gilder.
I'm sorry, what?
Jathan Lawrence Gilder.
Jason?
That's Jaytha. Jathan something from The Young and the Restless.
No.
Stole earrings.
What?
Here's what he did. He went into a Tiffany & Co. Pretending to represent someone from the Orlando Magic basketball team, which gained him access to a high-value jewelry vault at Tiffany & Co., where he went into the VIP room, grabbed 2 pairs of diamond earrings, one that was at 4.86 carats and valued at $160,000, and another one that was 8.1 carats, valued at
Holy
over
crap.
$600,000, and attempted to run out. While he ran out, he was apprehended, and when that happened, he threw them in his mouth and he swallowed them.
I don't have them.
They found
They're not
it.
here.
It says a body scan at the jail revealed the foreign objects in his digestive tract.
He had
And
to poop those out.
I think that was the
Gross.
goal, but I would hate to be the person who is. Well, here's the deal.
It's like pooping corn kernels out,
Kind of.
but worse.
I mean, I haven't seen any corn kernels that have hooks that will go in your ears.
Or prongs.
Yeah, I mean, at that level of carrots, I don't know if they're studs as much as they are something that needs like a hook rather than a little thing. But $750,000 has now passed through this man's digestive tract.
Gross. Who's going to buy that now?
That's what I'm saying. It's not like Tiffany & Co. can just put them back on the shelves and be like, well, these are gently used.
They probably will.
You think so?
Yeah, they'll clean them and they'll sterilize them and they'll go through the whole process and they won't tell anybody.
How much of a discount do you think you could get? You're like, I'm sorry, these have been through someone's feces?
That looks like dirty.
Yeah. Can I get like a 10% off? Half off?
They're like the show floor models now.
Yeah.
You can't actually buy those and we can't disclose to you why not.
I bet they take all the diamonds out and put them in a new setting.
It's probably what they do.
That's got to be it. But surprising no one, this dude had 48 outstanding warrants in Colorado.
My gosh.
And was previously linked to a 2022 robbery at a different Tiffany & Co. store in Texas.
Why Tiffany & Co.?
Because it's easy bang for the buck. If you wanted to rob a bank to get $750,000, it's a big endeavor to get
That's
that in the
hard.
bag. If you know that you can hand grab, I don't know how else you'd grab something, grab 2 pairs of earrings and you're already there, of course
Yeah.
you're going to go there.
That's so funny.
So he's facing first-degree grand theft robbery with a mask charge. So just so you know, I don't know, maybe he had a mask on at some point too. How do you swallow something with a mask on?
But it has a hole for your mouth
Ask
and for
him.
your eyes.
The mask?
Yeah.
Oh, like a ski mask.
The ski mask.
I was thinking like a COVID mask.
Yeah, I figured that. No, like a ski mask.
Yeah, well,
like a robbery mask.
Yes,
I'm coming for you.
Maybe if they're known as robbery masks, maybe that's when you know you have a problem.
They are ski masks, but they're in my mind, I'm like, they're robbery masks.
So I have another story that's similar-ish, but I'm just wondering what your take on this is.
How much money did he swallow? I'm just kidding.
He swallowed $500,000 in cash.
Oh my gosh, gross.
Just a fork and knife. Here is the next story in crime news. There's a lot of crime news this week. Thieves used a stolen card to buy a $523,000 winning lottery ticket. The victim just wants to share the winnings.
Yeah, I would too. I'd be like, it's cool, but I want some of it.
So this dude,
60-40.
this guy got his, I guess, credit card stolen, and they used it to buy this lottery ticket that won essentially €500,000 or $500,000. So if you're in that situation, first you're like, someone stole my credit card and my identity, but then you find out that they won $500,000.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
So you would negotiate with terrorists?
Listen, you want to know why?
Yeah.
Because I think that if I'm like, it's a crime, he stole this, then what happens is that ticket becomes null and void because it was stolen. It was paid through stolen.
Oh my gosh, you know that's going to happen, right? Yeah. They're like, we're not giving you that.
And so rather than doing that, be like, no. It's cool. I'm in on it. I just want at least half the money or more than that.
Like, I would like to
it's cool.
Redact my police report.
Yeah, that everything else was stolen. That ticket, I told him to buy.
Oh yeah, it was a favor.
Do you know what I mean? Because
right.
I think that's the call.
The backpack was stolen, but I gave him my card.
Yeah, or I gave him permission. I said, but if you're gonna buy, you can't buy anything. But if you buy a lottery ticket, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's true. I think that if he says that it's all stolen, that he loses access to that amount of money versus him saying,
you know where I learned that from?
I'll just share it with you and I won't press charges. It's fine.
I learned that from an old show called Pawn Stars. There was, it was a trend, kids, in the 2000s to have.
I think it's still on.
I'm not sure if it's still on. But
Storage Wars, which is pretty similar.
Yeah, it was like a lot of pawn shops. Shows that was all kind of puns on, like hardcore pawn, or Pawn Stars. It was a certain time in Americana, and I remember one episode. This dude brought in like an old police helmet from some European country, and he was like, "Yeah, it's great. I stole it off of a drunk cop's head." And he's like, "Wow, what a great story. We cannot buy that from you because it's stolen. You already told us it's stolen."
Yeah.
So word to the wise, kids.
Don't tell them.
Don't tell anyone that you stole $750,000 of Tiffany & Co. jewelry. Just say, I don't know how it got in my intestines.
I must have been in the hot dog I ate.
You never know what's in those. Could be earrings.
Who knows?
Anyway, I've got some more
so funny.
More stories like that, but I'll save them because I know we're running long. And I'll be honest with you, Cal. I feel like Unpapa Pins have gotten the short end of the stick lately.
They kind of have.
And they're one of our favorite parts.
I'm ready.
So before moving them to an earlier part of the show in future episodes, as we try out new formats and new things as well, let's hit some right here, right now.
Okay.
I have like 8 of them. So let's, you know what? I always come prepared.
I'm excited.
I always come prepared. First one, Unpapa Pins. Going to a restaurant right before they close is not rude. What's rude is posting your hours that you claim that you're open, but expect people to act like you're not.
No, it's rude.
As someone who worked in food for years.
It's rude.
Why?
Because people are scheduled to a certain amount of time. It's saying that our dining room space is open until 10 o'clock. But it also is saying that that's when people are done working.
Yeah.
And so if you're coming in at 9:58 and you're like, I want 16 blah, blah, blahs, those people now have to stay overtime to make that happen because they can't make it in overtime? 2 minutes.
But no, they're already getting paid for like a half hour, an hour after, right?
Sometimes people are off at 10. Sometimes they're off at 11. Sometimes they're off at 10:30. It just depends. But now you're like, these people are they have to clean up and get home and start their life because they've worked 8 hours. You show up a couple minutes before closing expecting to get everything. It's like, well, we've already started to shut down machines. It's going to take longer. And for me, when I did work in the food industry, what really bugged me was when people would come in late and then they would complain that it was taking so long. I was like, well, I can't say it.
You can say anything you want.
No shit, Sherlock. Like, it's 2 minutes till close.
Yeah.
There's not like 50 people here right now. There's like 4 of us.
Yeah, and the fryers are turned off.
Yeah, or at least all of them except for one. And so like you order a big thing, you got to give us some time.
Yeah. So what's the cutoff then? In a fast casual place?
Half hour.
Really?
It depends. If you, it depends. If you're at a restaurant, like a sit down restaurant.
Yeah, that's not what I mean.
Then like you need to come like 45 minutes before closing.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're going to like a quick service restaurant, like a Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or something, not like 15 minutes before close, unless you have a large order, in which case before then.
Okay. I agree with that.
And don't complain.
That's just a good general rule. Keep it to yourself.
Be nice. If you're coming really close to close and you're like, man, I know you guys about to close. I really, really, really wanted Chick-fil-A or whatever I wanted for dinner. Like, is it okay if I order? Like the kinder you are, the nicer they'll be and the more willing they'll be to serve you. But it was always people that complained that I was like, you've obviously never worked a day in your life in an industry that's about service, because I felt the same way even when I worked in like retail.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're coming just a couple minutes before close, I'm not here to like let you smell all the candles or try on all the clothes. I'm ready to get out.
Yeah.
Or like, don't be mad at me if I start closing stuff up around you and locking the door. So like you're in here and we're just kind of watching you while we clean up stuff and I don't give you my full attention, because I'd also like to go home.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I've said this before, but it is worth reiterating because I'm passionate about it. I think it should be required for all people, at least who live in America, to work in the food service industry in some way, shape, or form. In the same way that people are like, what college did you go to? Oh, that proves that you can do stuff. You should have to work the gauntlet of a drive-through window.
Yeah, or something that's customer experience facing. Because I think you experience the same thing in retail as well. It's a little bit different, but
I would know more about a person seeing where they worked before at Abercrombie and McDonald's than I would care about like, oh, you finished CSUN. You went to college. Very good.
Yeah.
We all know how to study and take tests, but can you deal with angry, rude customers? Or are you an angry, rude customer that I'm about to hire?
That's true. I think you'd have less angry, rude customers if more people had worked in customer service.
Yeah, I agree with that. A couple more. Game pause screens should have no audio whatsoever. This I was thinking about literally this morning.
Yes.
Because it gets obnoxious.
I'm pausing for a reason.
Yes.
I'm pausing because I need a break, because I'm on a phone call, because my child came out and needs to ask me a question. My husband's asking me a question. I'm pausing because I'm doing something, not because I want to hear in the background.
What is that game?
Some creepy game that we're playing. I don't know. It was
Prince
like
of Persia?
Borderlands or Prince of Persia or
Borderlands.
It was actually Gears in my mind when I did it. I don't really know what the song is, but I don't need that. I need you to pause all things.
I think
all of them.
The compromise is like, give me a 15 to 30 second pause track, and once that's done, just quiet. We don't need it forever. We don't need the ambiance for the pause.
I don't need
the pause-biance.
I don't need ambiance at all. If
all
I'm
right.
pausing you, it's because I'm pausing you.
Yeah. So listen to that, people who know Kellie, and get paused by her. Yeah. There's a reason. No music. Just because monkeys open a banana that way doesn't mean that's the right way to open them.
Truth.
Did you remember when
bottom.
you found out that monkeys do that and someone was like, this is how we should do it?
Yes.
I kind of remember. I don't remember who said it, but I
can
remember
peel a
the
banana
moment.
however I want to peel a banana.
I will say that there's times where I peel it like monkeys do, but that's only when I can't, like, when, when you bend the top and it's just like,
yeah, honestly, I don't think it matters the way that you peel a banana as long as you can get to the banana. But if you cut a banana, I swear to God.
What, in half?
Like if you like use a knife to cut the peel.
Who would do such a thing?
I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Like that is when I'm like.
There's times where I'll slice the top of the banana where the little thing is so I can actually like open it. I also am a big not a fan of people who cut bananas in half, kind of like, you know, like if you cut a hot dog in half, you wouldn't do it the long way. It's horizontal. And then you've got like, they'll do it at like breakfast buffets and stuff. I'm like, this banana is half exposed and getting brown and getting all these germs. We're supposed to pick it up and eat it right now. But I would also argue that monkeys, while they do it the way they want to, I like doing it from the top because it has that terrible part on the very bottom, whatever that stem is, that's bitter and horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't want to start there. I want to start with the tip.
I like to cut the ends off anyway.
Of both sides? Why?
Because I don't like them.
You cut out.
They're like pulpy. I know it's not. I mean, I have to assume it's like pulp. You know that like the line, the string.
Yeah, the stringy ding thing.
Yes, I don't like the top and I don't like the bottom.
That's weird.
Because the bottom has that dark part.
Yeah, and that's not
gross.
Delicious.
And the top part doesn't always have that, but sometimes it does, where it has like the pulp, and it's not my favorite.
Well, I think the top is weird, and I've never experienced pulp on the top.
I also like to cut my bananas. I can't get over the shame that people have given to girls, particularly for eating bananas.
Yeah, but you just stopped talking about if someone cuts a banana, I don't want to hear about it, you monster.
No. If someone cuts
the peel of
a banana to open it, you're a freaking monster. Rip the top or push the bottom.
Push the bottom. Like slipping on banana peels.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it'd be
kind of. This went way longer on the banana thing than I even thought would happen.
In the same way, I feel that like trying to cut just the end of like just the peel of an avocado is weird. You should just cut it in half and scoop it out. You know, You don't just cut the rind of a banana and then peel it sideways.
Cut the rind of a
like
banana.
This is the banana.
And open it like a burrito?
Yes, don't do that. It's a monster. But I tend to cut my bananas up because of the shame that most people gave to females in the 90s and early 2000s for eating a banana.
I saw Kirk Cameron
specifically at
describe
churches.
how it's a perfectly made fruit designed by God to fit in our hand and our mouth, which was a hilarious video to watch.
I mean, it kind of is, but also, yeah. So I always cut my bananas and I'll eat them slice by slice.
I never knew that about you. Learn something every couple episodes about you. All right, let me give you a serious one, and then we'll go out on 2 food ones, and we'll rappity-dappity up.
Erky.
That's not a phrase, and it didn't sound good when I said it.
Rappity-dappity.
Marriage is nothing more than a financial agreement in today's world.
No.
Really? Well, I don't think that's totally true. Let me ask you, present it this way. Would there be anything different about our lives if you and I weren't married? Other than the financial ties of if one of us dies, the other one gets everything.
If you put it that way, no, we'd probably still be together and be considered
ourselves a couple. Yeah, so why does the government need to be involved?
That's not the question you asked.
What was the question that I asked? What would be different? This is a statement. Marriage is nothing more than a financial agreement in today's world.
Yeah, but that's not the unpopular opinion.
That is.
That is, but whether the government's involved or not is not the...
Oh, no. I'm just agreeing with you.
I don't think that the government needs to be involved in a marriage.
It's just wild.
We have a financial agreement that we will share our money, and that is equal. Well, now that we have joint bank accounts. It only took us like 3 years.
Is that true? Yeah, that is true.
But not that mattered because we still...
use each other's money.
Yeah, it didn't matter. But yeah.
I'm just saying I now understand that I would not need to be married to you to be committed to you. I wouldn't need to be married to you to prove that this is something that I'm going to forever be in. Like, I think
you are.
Yeah, and we did. But also, like, I don't need a piece of paper that I haven't seen in 6 years.
Yeah, that's true.
To tell me that we have something.
You're not wrong.
So I actually agree with this one. I think it's mostly for financial. I understand the other pieces, but when you break them down, if you're committed to somebody, you don't need somebody telling you that you're committed.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you disagree?
I think our situation is part specific. Like I would argue and say, yeah, but being married to you gives me the permission and the authority to be Brooklyn's stepmom and not just.
Yeah. So it's not totally financial.
A person. Yeah. Although like.
But legal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need to look into that. I don't really know what the legal
ramifications or whatever.
Yeah. Or the threshold is for that. Like, my biggest fear is that you'll die in some way, shape, or form, and I'll never get to see Brooklyn again.
Hopefully very quickly. I mean, that's my
And I'd lose
ideal.
everything just in an instant, my husband and my daughter.
Kellie is such an empathetic person that she just started crying last night thinking about people she loves passing.
Started with you.
Yes, and then quickly went to so many other people. I was like, girl, we are not living that reality.
I know.
Mocha never even came up.
I know.
It was all humans this time, which is even more shocking for you. All right, let me hit you with a few more and we'll get out of here.
Give me the fun ones. Goodness gracious.
Soda from a can is definitely its worst form.
Yes.
I don't know if soda from a can or a bottle is worse.
Glass bottle is better. Plastic bottle is worse. Fountain?
Number one.
If the mix is good. Mix is bad. God, I'm like, it tastes like crap.
Of course. But let's go
fountain?
with the way the best version of whatever medium.
Yeah, I know. A fountain and bottle and glass bottle are pretty equal for me.
Be honest though, is glass bottle just hype?
No, I like the way that glass bottles taste.
You know, I think I can understand
I like the way
that.
that sodas and glass bottles taste.
I just eat glass bottles. Like a Topo Chico, a sparkling water in a glass bottle stays colder for much longer than when they give it to you in a plastic bottle. So I could see that.
But fountain, glass, can, plastic bottle.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like a plastic bottle of Dr. Pepper is the worst form of Dr. Pepper, hands down.
Yeah.
So actually, I would disagree. I think you're right that plastic bottle is the worst.
The worst.
There's
Absolute worst.
There's some that it doesn't matter for. Like I think a bottle of Coca-Cola kind of tastes the same.
That sounds good right now.
Yeah, well maybe we'll do that after. We had salads for lunch, so we're due for some soda.
Eat crap now. Just kidding.
Speaking of lunch and foods, the last one, hard tacos are terrible.
Like crunchy tacos?
Yeah.
No.
Let me rephrase it though. Hard tacos are the worst version of tacos.
No.
Okay.
Doritos Locos Tacos?
That's different.
It's a hard crunchy taco.
I think that's actually the exception that proves the rule. When was the last time you got a hard taco from Taco Bell that was not a Doritos Locos taco?
I haven't.
Because it's bad compared to the soft tortillas?
I do tend to lean on the soft taco side. Like I like burritos and I like tacos. But there is something special about a crunchy taco when you want a crunchy taco that I do really enjoy. But they do break pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, you can't call it the worst. I don't know. I like it. I do like chalupas too, which fall in the hard soft category.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle because they're not super hard, but they're also not soft like a soft taco.
Yeah. I need to give a shout out to this woman. Speaking of Mexican food.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Fallen down the rabbit hole on TikTok of
Yeesh.
this, I don't know where she's from, but I assume Hispanic woman who just cooks. And I was like, I don't understand what she's saying, but I love watching it. And it kind of makes me feel smart. I'm like, oh, con arroz.
With rice?
Yeah, that's right. I'm never going to find it. I'll have to shout her out next time, but she's great. And I'm sure because I've said it, it's going to pop up on your algorithm any moment.
Yeah. And it's nice because they have the English translation on her videos, like the captions.
Which sometimes tricks you.
She only speaks in Spanish to think that you actually understand the Spanish. So I encourage you to close your eyes and listen to what she's saying.
Close your eyes, then you
or
can't understand.
Or cover the bottom of the screen and see. Do you understand?
But then you can't you won't feel like you understand. Isn't the whole point to feel like you do understand?
No, the whole point is to understand.
Okay. But if you do want to understand, you'd have to read it because you don't speak Spanish.
That's true. I understand some.
I feel like I poked a pretty significant hole into your philosophy here.
I want to learn a language that's not sign language because none of you can see me right now.
But I can't
I'm
verify.
Signing.
She is signing. Fun. She's saying, get me out of here.
Some interpreters this week.
Oh, yeah. That's a hard job. Although it seems to be like 15 minutes on, 45 minutes off.
Yes. But this interpreter was teaching a student.
Yeah. In case you're wondering why Kellie's speaking rhythms are so weird
it's because
right
I'm
now,
signing right now.
It's because she is signing right now.
Is that how I'm talking?
Yeah. You are kind of talking
with your hand
motions.
Slow down.
See, you did it again.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I am proving a point. It's because my normal cadence is wrong, like when I sign. Because did you know this? That in sign language, you don't sign every word.
No, it's like
you sign like ideas, or
so. Give me an example of something like if you sign something, how would it be in English? Like not this is how English people who speak English would say it, but like these would be the words that I'm saying.
Well, if you're doing proper sign, that's like not, I mean, I think it's all kind of mixed in now because I think people do sign the way that you would talk. But if you actually learn sign language, you don't even sign in the same order. So you could write a sentence down and you would sign it as like, I think it's like, I have to really think about it, but it's like who, where, what, and how. Like it's like you
like in that order always.
Yeah, it's like a different order, and that might be wrong. It's been a really long time since I've been in school for sign language, but like you wouldn't sign it like I'm going to the park with blah blah blah. You'd be like me, SP, park going, like 12 noon or whatever.
Got it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So it's even in a different it's in English, but you sign it in a different order. But like if you were just going to sign it in general, if I was going to say like I'm going to the park. I am going to the park. The signs I actually sign are me, park, going.
Yeah, it's kind of like how our child writes.
Kind of.
It's like, I don't want to write all the words, just the idea of the words.
Yeah, but it's ideas. But it's the same thing. Like when you think about like songs.
Yeah.
Like even you're talking about like Walking in a Winter Wonderland.
Okay.
Because for some reason that's the easy song I think of right now.
Okay, sure.
Like that, you can sign that a bunch of different ways because the context of Walking in a Winter Wonderland in that song is like you're walking in a physical winter wonderland where it's snowing, but you could also be walking with your sweetheart like in the snow.
Okay.
We'll frolic and play the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland. It's like you would sign maybe like sweethearts kind of walking together in a winter.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're trying to communicate the idea of what the song is versus like the literal of what you're saying.
Got it.
Anyways, blah, 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 blah. Well, sign language.
And as Kellie
He's now found the Hispanic person on TikTok.
Well, it's a weird way to say that. Yes, this woman who cooks on TikTok. If you're on there, at Rebecca Coss1, REBECA COSS1. She has 2.6 million followers.
No, she doesn't.
78 million likes. Yes.
That's
and it's
crazy.
all like delicious, great stuff.
It all does look great.
I know. I learned a lot of stuff. Oh, I even made my quesadilla the way she makes her quesadillas.
With the cheese on the bottom?
Yeah. So when you were gone, I don't know.
For the one day I was gone.
I like cut up all my chicken and fajitas and I put that in the pan first. Like I put butter and then that. And then I put all the cheese that I would have put on a quesadilla on top of that. And then I took the tortilla and I put that on top and kind of smushed it around. I may have put a lid on it too. I don't remember. But then once that was all sticky, I flipped it over and it was basically a quesadilla already. Flipped that in half and then, of course, did the rest of the quesadilla. It was freaking good.
Good. Let's make it.
It was the way to do it, baby.
Did you do salsa in there too?
I actually didn't, mostly because I forgot because I was so fixated on doing it the way that she does it that I forgot to put in other stuff that I normally do.
Okay.
But I had salsa on the side. It was totally great.
Yeah.
So check her out, I guess is what we're saying. At the that we said. But if you want to hang out with us, of course, at It's Hardly Working on Instagram and TikTok. That is the end of our show for today. Kellie, lots of stuff coming up. We're going to Salt Lake tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Then I come back to a gig, and then I come back to another, and then I do another gig.
Kellie and I we will be in Salt Lake Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We leave on Wednesday to come back we land at 8 maybe? 10? We land at 10? Mm-hmm. We land at 10 at night and then go straight to a gig for Kellie that's already happening in Hollywood.
Yep.
The one we talked about earlier, which is kind of crazy to fly from a gig in another state to another gig that's happening.
And then we have laser hair removal the following day. So wish us luck.
Boy, we are in the it's gonna hurt stages of that.
It's gonna be hurt.
Yeah, so we're there and we'll see how that goes.
Then I have therapy.
Do you?
On Friday.
That's good. I have it next week. You also have another private event for more fancy schmancy people next week. But we'll talk about all of that, how it went, how it's going, and everything in between next week on Hardly Working.
Yes.
But until then, I hope you have a delicious week full of fun and joy and food. Whether it's a hard or soft shell taco, I hope you enjoy it. Whether it's soda from a can, from a fountain, or just water, or from a bottle.
Oh, or just water, sorry.
Or just water. I hope that you find some ways to make yourself happy because I'm trying to figure that out. So much so that we're maybe turning it into a new show. But I hope it's easier for you to find your joy and find your people. And I hope you spend most of your time this week
hardly working.
Hardly working.
You're supposed to do it with me.
I was trying to trick you. And I nailed it. Hardly working.
Hardly working.
We got there.
Love you.
Mean it.
Bye.
Bye. Remember Bo at the end of the episode? He's like, oh, I get it now. Bye.
Yeah.